In the last session, we discussed what different activities can be set below the extract given from the poem. We also discussed how many marks have been allotted to the poetry section out of 80 marks. Today, we are going to deal with the actual poem Song of the Open Road, written by Walt Whitman. So students, before we begin the actual poem Song of the Open Road, I would like to explain something about the poet Walt Whitman. The poet Walt Whitman was born in 1819 and died in 1892. He was born in America and therefore Walt Whitman is an American poet. He is known as a father of free verse. So what is meant by free verse, I will explain when I will deal with the figures of speech from the same poem. Apart from poems, Walt Whitman has also written number of essays and papers, and therefore Walt Whitman is a poet as well as essayist and journalist. The poem Song of the Open Road is from the collection of the poems entitled Leaves of Grass, which was published in 1855. O Captain, My Captain is a very famous poem written on the death of Abraham Lincoln, and this poem is widely popular. So this is what I explain about the poet Walt Whitman. Now let us start the poem Song of the Open Road. Students, I hope that you must be having textbook with you. If you don't have textbook, I have also provided the slide of each stanza in this video. So when I will explain the stanza, you need to concentrate on the each and every line of the stanza. So let us look at the first stanza of the poem. Students, let us concentrate on the first stanza of the poem. I read the first stanza. Afoot and light-hearted, I take to the open road, healthy, free, the world before me, the long brown path before me, leading wherever I choose. So this is the first stanza. The first stanza says that the speaker of the poem is Whitman himself. The poem begins with Whitman's journey as per his wish. The poet sets out on the open road on his foot. His mood appears to be worry-free in this healthy and free world. Moreover, the poet has choices to prepare where to go in this world. In a sense, it clarifies that a journey will be controlled by the poet himself. So this is what the poet Whitman says in the first stanza. Let us come to the second stanza. Concentrate on the second stanza. I read the second stanza. Henceforth, I ask not good fortune, I myself am good fortune. Henceforth, I whimper no more, postpone no more, need nothing. Done with indoor complaints, libraries, querulous criticisms, strong and content, I travel the open road. Further, in the second stanza, the poet confidently expresses that he does not ask for good fortune, as he believes himself to be a maker of his own fortune. In addition, the poet declares that neither he will cry with fear nor delay what he wants to do in the future. Similarly, the poet is satisfied as he needs nothing in this world. This stanza also shows Whitman's irritation as he is done with his consistent daily routine work and indoor complaints. Thus, he wishes some sort of relaxation from his confinement. Now, let us come to the third stanza. I read the third stanza. The earth that is sufficient. I do not want the constellations any nearer. I know they are very well where they are. I know they suffice for those who belong to them. So, students, in this stanza, the poet shows his willingness to start his journey on the open road as he is enough strong and happy. The next tell poet's unwillingness to mix himself with a particular group of people as he wants to be free from other relation. If you look at the stanza number 3, the line, I do not want the constellations any nearer, means that the poet wants to be separate from a particular group of people because he thinks that the Mother Earth or universe is enough for him to travel. According to the poet, these people are doing well where they are. Now let us come to the last fourth stanza. I read the fourth stanza into bracket. Still here I carry my old delicious burdens. I carry them, men and women. I carry them with me wherever I go. I swear it is impossible for me to get rid of them. I am filled with them and I will fill them in return. In the last stanza, the last part of 4 lines is deliberately separated from earlier lines. These lines are quoted within bracket expressing poet's confession of his past memories. It is hard for the poet to detach himself from this sweet burden of past experiences. The poet has chosen the journey where men and women will come together to experience the new world. It is impossible for the poet to get rid of these people because the poet yearns to return them what they had given the poet in the past. It means that the journey cannot be restricted by the poet and also the other people. The poet cannot stop himself from the journey. So this is how and this is what the poet Walt Whitman has said in the last stanza of the poem. In this way, I have tried to explain the meaning of all the stanzas of the poem. Still, we have some expressions which need to be explained in detail. For example, if you look at the first stanza begins with the word afoot. Afoot means going on foot, as we know that the poet has started his journey on his own foot. Then, in the second stanza, we come across the word whimper and fortune. So, the word fortune means good luck. The poet does not expect good luck from anybody because he himself is sufficient to face any challenges. The third expression that we come across is whimper. Whimper means when there is a fear and pain and we cry in low or weak voice, that is called whimpering. In the same stanza, we come across the word querulous. Querulous means out of irritation when somebody complains, that is called querulous criticism. Then, in the same stanza, we come across the word constellations. Constellations mean destiny, but in this context, the meaning of this expression is influential groups of people. So, these are some expressions we need to be explained in detail to comprehend the poem thoroughly. I am sure that you must have understood and comprehended the meaning of each and every students. There are number of figures of speech used by poet in this poem. The figures of speech like alliteration, repetition, inversion, paradox, climax, and so on. So there are a number of instances or examples of all these figures of speech in this poem. In the next session, I will explain all these figures of speech with the help of the lines in the poem. Thank you.